When I was little, I used to see kids younger to me riding bicycles, and I felt that desire to ride one myself. What fun it must be to ride on two wheels without a care in the world, free as a bird. I went to my parents with a request to buy me a bicycle so that I could ride like a careless child too. When they heard my plea, Dad announced that the court was dismissed for today and adjourned till next week. Then next day, I cried everything to my brother, who was free as a bird, just like the kids on their bicycles, and rode like a careless child. He took me directly on motorbike instead of a bicycle and taught me about its function while riding. For a week, I practiced and built my skills with him. We wandered everywhere, exploring the roads and routes, learned driving precautions, and sometimes sped up against traffic cops. After 10 days, my father agreed to buy a bicycle for my birthday, but I thought what I could do with a bicycle, it's a kid's vehicle. Then I demanded for a motorbike. Everything was silent as a late winter's moon, and unfortunately, they gave me a memorable experience to be remembered up till my future generations. I will never forget that incident. We didn't even talk for 2 days. My elderlies advised me not to ride a vehicle while I am underaged. As my 18th birthday approached, I was elated, and from next day, I am free as a bird and could ride like a careless child too. On that night, I was riding my classic 350 with my fellows. We went to Kedarnath, Nainital, and Bhimtal. I washed my bike in lakes there, and at last I jumped from a cliff with my bike into a deep end of broken earth. All it was a devoted as well as a deadly dream. As many weeks passed away, I almost forgot my plea to my father. I found myself more comfortable in my conscious mind or my daily lifestyle. Everything was going peacefully. But a few days later, we had new neighbors in the desolate house. I was amazed when I saw a BMW R1250 GS in their parking. I gradually but evidently was getting attracted to that shiny new bike. I could not fathom the idea of somebody next door leaving the dream of my life. Now I wanted too. But whenever I thought to convince my father to buy me any vehicle except bicycle, I don't know how, and from where that memorable experience pops in my head and shakes me to my very core. I was frightened, and my brain throbbed inside my skull every time when I would think of it. I got depressed, but my pride as a child would not allow me to show it. I would always smile and tried to use that smile to overcome my childhood's fear of losing freedom to ride a bike. Anyway, it was my faith and my patience which helped me to stay calm. When I was around 20, my friends told me about story writing competition, as I was the well-known and had won many accolades in story writing in my school those days. They also told me that the first prize was your dream. It's a Continental GT. I was elated, and I didn't know how to express my happiness in words, ironically, which was now my pathway to my dream bike. I announced a small gathering that night at hotel with my friends, as I had doubts about them telling the truth, because they are habitual liar. So, I Googled the competition where I found very less time to practice my writing skills. I burnt my midnight oil and didn't even have time for leisure. I used every interstice of my life. When I Googled the competition, I missed to check one detail. It was the day of competition. I was dressed up in my favorite shining shirt and pant with my cap all embroidered. I thought that it would be the turning point of my life. My father dropped me at the NAIT University, where the competition would be held. Everyone who participated in the contest were under 18. I was the only one who was 20, and everyone gazed at me. Initially, I was nervous, but as soon as I came to know that they are not very familiar with English, I was thrilled and proclaimed myself winner of the competition. In the beginning 10 minutes, I almost completed 5 pages of my story on the topic. A mysterious box arrived at my doorstep with no return address, in which I mentioned my friend came to my house and ordered something from Amazon without telling me. I submitted my story before time and wandered to every contestant's table. Someone just started the story, and many of them were sitting idle in hopes of a miracle for their story. No one was in my comparison. I almost dawdled to every table in the hall. At the time of prize distribution, it was me at the first position, and Mr. Naitik Sopra, the principal of the university, gave me a medal, a certificate with lots of greetings. But something was lurking in my mind about the main prize, as per my friends told me. So I asked the invigilator about the same. He arrowed his finger towards the room at the corner of the hall. At the same time, I ran towards it. Once again, I elated, and I slapped a boy with happiness for me, not for him. He was already crying for losing the competition, and I taunted his way of crying. When I opened the door, bright rays of light were coming out of a draped thing. When I took the drapes from it, my eyes were opened 10 times than the regular openings. I saw a red-colored with blackish tint dirt bike, which was a kid's vehicle for kids around 15 to 18 years of age. I was speechless, and I could hear my dreams shattering that of glass inside my chest. There was an unexplained ache. I suddenly regretted all my recent decisions, felt like a fool to have overlooked such a detail. What kind of a writer would I be? A writer who cannot read. There is an irony there, right? I was in deep despair. As they passed by, and I was starting to feel somewhat version of normalcy, that dirt bike was right there to push me back into the black hole. So I finally decided to gift the bike to the boy whom I slapped with happiness in the hall. However, I found a dress of that boy, and I surprised him. He was overjoyed after taking the bike, and all his disappointment were evaporated under the happiness to get the bike. At the moment, I recalled my past when my father gave me a first toy bike. From then till now, it's been my dream to own a superbike. In that hall, I didn't complain to anyone about the prize because when I Googled the competition, I missed to check one detail, that the first prize is a dirt bike for kids. When I came home, my friend made fun of me because they knew everything about the competition, and they didn't tell me the whole truth. But I ignored them. As days passed by, I got busy with my second-year final examination, and just to keep myself occupied, I started working part-time at a huge manufacturer of big branded clothes. I almost forgot about the whole story writing competition fiasco. One evening, when I got home from work, my jaw dropped on the floor because there was a brand new bike in my favorite color red in our parking slot. It was no super bike, but it was a much-needed upgrade than the one my father rides. I had multiple thoughts going through my head while I entered home, one of which was, Lord Hanuman has finally shown mercy and fulfilled his child's wish finally. Just as I entered with an ear-to-ear smile on my face, I saw my parents setting up the sweets in boxes for distributing them to everybody they knew. At this point, my happiness knew no bounds. I asked my father, "Where are the keys? You got me the bike. I am so thankful." The glare my father gave me still sent chills to my spine. In very cold voice, he instructed me to never touch the bike, and very firmly suggested that if I wanted to ride a new bike, I better earn it myself. I don't know what made him so angry at me. I kept wondering if he was furious, or is this how all concerned parents behaved? I did not think of it anything more than humiliation at that point. As a result, in summer vacations of that year, I switched from part-time job to the full-time job. Since it was a huge international manufacturer, the salary was very good. I switched my final year of college to private attendee instead of regular. Obviously, my parents were not happy with this decision. But I had blinders on. I was single-mindedly running towards my goal. And guess what? It paid off. All my efforts were rewarded in form of Continental GT in sparkling silver color. I vividly remember the feeling that I could conquer the world that day. My parents were happy and supportive too. Turns out they just wanted to teach me a lesson on working hard for achieving goals. Although my final year's percentage did suffer, but in my eyes, I was an overachiever. Now, when I look back, it all seems silly how the younger me wanted as bicycle, but after getting the taste of speed, did not settle for anything less. Because of that, young Naitik, who wanted to ride like a careless child, taught me that I could achieve anything I set my mind to. As a result, the business my parents started from a tiny room now flourishes throughout the world.